All right, folks, good morning. Okay, let's get started. So for today, December the 12th, we have the following information. So at 8:30 a.m., we had core PPI month over month, which came in as expected. PPI month over month came in higher than expected at 0.4%, and unemployment claims came in worse than expected at 242K. Um, Now, probably this will be negative for the markets. It looks like the reaction's already negative, but I'll go over that in a second. And then at 1:01 p.m. we'll have the 30-year bond auction, which is not a major report. Not expecting much impact from that, but we'll see. All right, so let's go over that data. So the QQQ, the Nasdaq ETF, currently is trading downwards, and it is important to note that the higher unemployment is not a good sign. Also, um, the PPI data being higher than expected also is not a good number economically. The markets are a little more aligned with the economy now than they were before. It used to be good news was bad news. Now, bad news is bad news. So we're in the normal way that the market should interpret this economic data. All right, so we're sliding lower. Uh, Yesterday's action was clearly bullish. I mean, don't have to tell you that. Um, as far as it goes, looking at this on a daily chart, as you can see, we reached a new high for the QQQ ETF, a new all-time high. As you can see here, we're going all the way back to 2014 on this chart. So yesterday was definitely a bullish day. And jumping back to today, we're now coming off of those highs, back towards the range of trading that we saw 2 days ago. But we're not down there yet, so we'll see what happens. Now, having said that, taking a look at the stocks, which were moving yesterday, here's what we found. We didn't have a lot of good opportunities, even though the market was up. It didn't really work out in our favor. The only stock that really did was Mara, um, which was bullish yesterday, at least at the start, and it was able to reach. It didn't reach our target number one, actually. It fell short of that, but we still were able to take a decent profit. A lot of the stocks that were up actually reversed later and sold off. So I guess that was a pretty early warning that we might see the markets come down today. All right, looking at the pre-market, let's see what's happening, if there are any stocks that look interesting. So on my list, I have several stocks. So let's just go ahead and take a look at them now. First up is AMPG. That's currently up about 13%, just over 16 million shares. It's at least $1 per share, so we can go ahead and add that to our pre-market watch list for stocks. Symbol is AMPG. All right, next up is BCTX. That is currently down 37.27% on 1.4 million shares, but it's under $1 per share, so we can't look at that one. So we'll skip it. All right, next up is CTHR, which is currently up over 14%, 1.9 million shares, at least $1 per share, so that fully qualifies. So we'll add that to our pre-market watch list, CTHR. Next up is DBVT, which may not qualify. Okay, it is qualified, still up 10.64%, but way down from the peaks it was at earlier. trading over 3.5 million shares, at least $1 per share. So we'll go ahead and add that DBVT to our pre-market list. Next up is KROS, Keros Therapeutics. This is down sharply. The company announced it halted treatment in the 3.0 milligram per kilogram and 4.5 milligrams per kilogram arms of its ongoing Tropos trial due to safety concerns. Okay, so that one's currently down 73% on 1.6 million shares and at least $1 per share. Most likely that won't become an opportunity, but we'll see. Uh, Probably it's already stuck where it's at, but we'll find out. Next up is LAES, which is presently up 46% on 40.1 million shares, is at least $1 per share. So we'll go ahead and add that to our pre-market radar as well. Symbol is LAES. Next up is LDTC. That is currently down 13.8% on 2.4 million shares, and it's at least $1 per share. So we'll go ahead and add that to our pre-market radar as well. Symbol is LDTC. All right, next up is PALI, Palisade Bio, currently up 112% on 26.4 million shares, at least $1 per share. So we'll add that to our pre-market watch list, PALI. Next up is I think this qualifies RGTI. That's currently down about 10% on 10 million shares, at least $1 per share. So we'll go ahead and add RGTI to our pre-market radar. Next up is RZLV, which is currently up 10.5%, 6.9 million shares, and it's at least $1 per share. So we'll go ahead and add that to our pre-market watch list as well, RZLV. All right, next up we have SPG. Oh, okay, never mind. Forget that one. That's under $1. Next up we have TRNR, which is currently up 6.64% on 4 million shares, and it's at least $1 per share. So we can go ahead and add that to our pre-market watch list, TRNR. Next up is TRVI, which is presently up 80.7% on 15.7 million shares, at least $1 per share. So we'll go ahead and add that TRVI to our pre-market list. And finally, we have ZENA, which is presently up about 26% on 8.4 million shares. And it's at least $1 per share, so we'll go ahead and add that, ZENA, to our pre-market list. All right, so it's a pretty long list, and let me paste it right now. And if you folks see any other stocks meeting all 4 of our criteria other than those I've already identified, go ahead and let me know in the chat. The 4 criteria are: it must be a NASDAQ listed stock trading at least $1 per share in this current pre-market. It must have achieved at least a 6% price change, positive or negative, in this current pre-market, and at least 1 million shares of pre-market volume. All right, so I see IMRX is mentioned by Jen, and that currently is up 0.47%, so not enough. So we'll have to skip that one. WHLR, that's currently up 19.5%, 1.7 million shares, at least $1 per share. So we can add that, WHLR. Next up is Hut. That's currently up about 15%, 15.5%, 1.1 million shares, at least $1 per share. So we'll add Hut, HUT to our pre-market list. Next up is SYTA, which is presently up 31% on 20.1 million shares, but it's under $1 per share at the moment. So we'll put that on our possibilities list, but it's close to where it needs to be, but it's not at the right price at the moment. Love is mentioned. It's down, but I'm not sure that's going to qualify for volume. No, only 223,000 shares. So that doesn't qualify. All right. All right, so we'll go ahead and wrap up for this morning's pre-market pulse. Please be sure to like the video. I see we have 7 likes, more than 7 people watching, so please be sure to hit the like button. Greatly helps us with the YouTube algorithm. Also, be sure to subscribe to the channel so you get notifications. If anyone's watching this video on a replay and you're not familiar with our company, check out fundertrading.com, our website. You'll see a link in the description to this video. Other than that, for everyone who's part of the coaching program, I'll see you in there in about 20 minutes, and we'll pick up for today's session. Other than that, folks, have a great trading day, and I'll see you for tomorrow's pre-market pulse. Take care.